Good morning, everyone. My name is Stanley Atkins II, and I am the National Director of Hemp Farming and Technology for Minorities for Medical Marijuana. We bring to you another special episode of Sow the Land, which is our hemp farming monthly educational webinar. I know you saw last month where we had an amazing guest, Mr. Dan Watkins from Soul Cell CBD, and he brought us an array of information regarding hemp, but not only hemp, indoor cultivation, outdoor cultivation, and even other plants. Well, we wanted to change it up a little bit this week for you, and we wanted to bring on a special guest from another aspect of the cannabis and hemp industry. Now, I know that so many of you think that, well, CBD can only be put into oils or it can only be put into alcohol. Well, today's guest is going to bring you some technology that is really going to educate you on the vast properties of CBD isomers, and how they're using nanotechnology. But before we get into that, I want to give you some quick updates in regards to what is going on with the wide world of hemp in America. As many of you may know, there is a surplus of hemp materials going back all the way from 2018. And what was so special about 2018? Well, in the year 2018, we had the Federal Farm Bill. This is a bill that is rewritten and is enacted every few years, I think every 4 years. And what it does, it covers farming in America. Who can farm? What can they farm? What cannot be farmed? And the rules and regulations governing farming. Well, why am I bringing up the federal hemp bill when we're talking about hemp? Because many of you may know, but what some people may not know is that hemp was made legal nationally within the guidelines of the 2018 Federal Farm Bill. This is very important because what year is it? That's right, 2022. And what's 4 years from 2018? 2022. And with that being said, it's time for the Federal Farm Bill again. I was speaking with some colleagues this week who sit on an array of positions around the industry, and it is time that we make sure that we are a part of the narrative and the conversation regarding the federal farm bill. So please stay tuned. Look for updates in the federal farm bill. And right now, I want to bring on Miss Ursula Rochon. Miss Ursula is our esteemed guest today. She is the CEO and founder of Drink Aqua Green CBD Water. Miss Ursula is hailing to us from the amazing South, and she's going to come on, introduce herself, and she's going to let you guys know a little bit about her and how she came to this. So without further ado, you may know her as Painter Bay on social media. I want to introduce Water Bay, Miss Ursula Rochon. Good morning, Ursula.
Good morning. You were serious about the water bay thing. That's funny.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you're bringing water to the people. And tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what brought you into the cannabis and hemp industry.
Actually, funny enough, I'm born and raised in New Orleans in the deep South. So, of course, cannabis, we expect it to go legal there at the very end because we are literally in the middle of the Bible Belt. Probably the originator, if any. So I do have a background in real estate as well as entertainment and entertainment marketing. And with that, I've been around cannabis in various stages of it. And I will say this, me personally, I do have ADHD. And I am also not a big advocate of pharmaceuticals. Of course, to each, however anybody wants to cope with, but that's just how I personally. So I have tried cannabis, I've tried hemp, I've tried different variations, of course, and in changing my diet to try and curb that ADHD. So I'm not so wired. So I can focus on everything I'm supposed to do and complete tasks and not leave 85 tabs in my brain open. And CBD actually has been the main thing that's helped. However, I don't like to taste it and I don't like to smell it. That's what brings us to the water. So originally I did formulate an alkaline water with my partners in California. I'm very big on making sure everything is completely organic and from the earth. So it's naturally sourced. It has, you know, vitamins and minerals added, but it hasn't been ionized, so it has a very fresh taste. The only additional part that we could have added would have been CBD, and that's of course where this came from. So the best part is it's actually completely, well, you can see it's colorless, but it's odorless and it's also tasteless because we used a nanotechnology to actually infuse the CBD oil into the water. Because CBD oil, for those that don't know, is very thick. And of course, it's not water soluble. And anything that you put it in, it's going to dominate as far as taste, color, everything. You can put it, I don't care what you put it in, you're going to taste it. So using nanotechnology, we were able to actually stretch the molecule enough to make it water soluble, and you don't taste it, but you still have the full efficacy of the actual strain.
Wow. So that's one of the issues that I have run across a lot in the industry, because as we know, from visiting labs and facilities and conferences, most, so what people don't know is cannabis and the terpenes and a lot of the properties and the proteins in the plants, they're hydrophobic. So they don't really bond well with water, which is why when people are making their oils or their tinctures, they usually use like an oil, a coconut oil or a butter, because it binds to that fat. And
Right.
with the technology that you guys are using, I think it's awesome because there is a way around that. And I think the future of the industry and of products is going to be the nanotechnology. Because what a lot of people are starting to understand is, again, there are others who don't like the taste. They don't like the smell. They don't like that bitter, that weird aftertaste that a lot of the products have, especially some of the gummies. They're like, oh, it made me feel good, but it tasted like a chemical.
It tastes horrible.
And with the nanotechnology, it has faster absorption. There's a lot less waste. There's no residue left in the product. So really, congratulations to you and your team for creating something that was a need. Because as you and I discussed previously, I've tried some waters. I haven't found many that I like. I found one that I like, but with the way their logistics,
you have a case of these on the way.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be pushing CBD water, and it's going to be drink Aqua Green, because not only is Aqua Green healthy for you, it's alkaline, but it's also natural. It is a Black female-owned product, and we want to make sure that we always support entrepreneurs on this program and N4MM, and not just through that, but through our work in the industry. So in formulating your water, what were some of the problems that you came up with? Because I personally know of several people that have attempted to formulate their waters at home, and nobody's came out right. So what are some of the problems that you ran into during the creation and formulation of this technology and this water?
So actually, the interesting part is the water is not, this is not where I started in cannabis. I actually have my own strain, which is not on the market yet. For those that are listening and watching, if you've tried it, you already know. We're actually trying to dumb it down. It's a little too strong for the market. But it's called Creole Princess. So in formulating Creole Princess, which is the pink strain of marijuana that a few people have posted, it's very frosty. She's a dominant sativa, but she is a hybrid. I ran into most of my issues in that space. So I was able to carry everything that I learned over into the water. And to be honest, a couple of the things that we originally had an issue was once we got it colorless, you could still taste it a little bit. And that's what led us to go to the nanotechnology, because once we broke it down enough to make it water soluble, you could still taste it. And if it makes sense, what would happen is we put it in the fridge, it would get cold and it would like almost coagulate in the bottle. It would get like coconut oil. So it wasn't totally water soluble. Like, and you do this and you'd see it kind of like, you could see all the CBD like float. Ugh. I was like, yeah, nobody's going to drink that. Nobody. I said, it has to be completely water soluble. And right now we are actually the first. There's another out there recently in the last month or so that came out, but it was important to me to make it tasteless because I am an entrepreneur. I don't live and die in entertainment or marketing. You know, mainly it's in real estate. I can't go on a job call smelling like CBD. I can't. Because realistically, most people can't tell the difference between the way hemp smells and the way that marijuana smells. So I can't go on a job field and smell like CBD, but I also don't want to be, what am I doing? Where am I going? Where is it? So this is like, this is the modern day solution. You get in your water.
And I think that's very interesting that you took that approach. Because there was a colleague of mine who actually texted me last night that she was at a hibachi restaurant and that the manager of the hibachi restaurant asked a guest to leave the restaurant because they smell like marijuana. I know that people think it's 2022, that there is still a lot of stigma. There's still a lot of criticisms about it. So the fact that you took the initiative to make sure to keep it as natural as possible, because oftentimes there are lots of patients across America and across the world who don't want to smell it. I don't want to taste it. I just want the effect. I just want the effects of it. And there's a lot, especially during education, there are a lot of people who would love the water, especially the fitness side of things. You know, I know that you're a very fit person. You're big on exercise and wellness and getting some sunshine. And I feel that Aqua Green Water could really be the catalyst for this summer. I saw that one of the comments from one of my colleagues, Nancy Reed over at Cincy Magazine, is that they're doing an entire special this summer on CBD water. So Nancy, maybe we could get you connected with Drink Aqua Green and potentially feature Aqua Green. So once you guys got the technology down, you got the taste down, you got the polymers and the isolates down to where you wanted it, what went next into the production of water? Because we all drink water, but not many people think about where a bottle of water actually comes from.
It literally from there, it was, okay, send me a case and now I have to test it. Not just taste it, but I have to test it. I want to put it in with my protein powder. What happens? Because now I think the thing is, when people look at it, it looks like a bottle of water, and it is a bottle of water, but it does contain a lot of CBD. So you've changed the molecular balance of the water now, because it's actually not just water. So you don't know what's going to happen when you add things. What happens when I heat it? If I make tea with it, is the efficacy going to change? Like, am I going to feel a different feeling if I heat the water up? Like, what happens? So it was literally, they sent me a case and I chilled it. I froze it. I added protein powder. I heated it. I boiled it. I cooked with it. Because realistically, I just wanted to see at that point, was the molecular creation that we have right here by itself, does it change when you add heat? Or if you add...
And that was going to be one of my next questions. Was there did it affect the properties of, if I decide I don't have a small child, but if I want to make a baby's bottle with it, if I wanted to make some tea with it, or if I even wanted to boil some vegetables in it, things of that nature. So what you're saying is that even if you use it to make a tea, or you decide, hey, I want to make a soup with it, the element of heating it doesn't change the properties of your water?
No.
Message.
Well, let me rephrase. It does not change the efficacy of the CBD in the water.
CBD. Okay, so which means for all my fitness people, I just finished the workout myself. I'm trying to make sure I'm not sweating on camera. So I did a Peloton ride before I jumped on. And there is a difference in water, ladies and gentlemen. Not all water was created equal. Not all water is alkaline. And definitely not all CBD waters were created the same.
Right.
If you've noticed, sometimes you may see the cases of water that are 36 bottles for $2.99. You drink those, or you may buy a little bit more expensive water, and you realize that you felt a different type of hydration. That is true. So you want to make sure you know where your water is coming from, what type of water it is, the pH balance, because here in the South, I know I don't really know anyone here in Georgia or in the Southeast pretty much that drinks tap water. A lot of people, when they make their protein shake and things of that nature, they may use tap water. And the problem with tap water is because it's hard. You know, we have a lot of minerals, we have a lot of proteins and compounds in the ground that comes into the water. And what I tell people to do is, if you want to see how hard the water is in your area, take a small saucepan or a boiler, something you boil water in, and once you put the water in there, boil it until the water boils out. Be sure to turn off the pan and look at the residual residue that's left in the pan. No matter where you are, there's going to be like a white film in the pan. That is what's in your water. And I saw that see a message says that from Mississippi, and second, we do not, I think they're saying we do not drink tap water because it's so hard. And so right now, for people in your area, how can people even get their hands on some of the Aqua Green Water? In your area, what stores is already in so people may be able to go and purchase some? Or how can they get it into the stores?
Actually, really close before we even say that, there's a comment from Farah that's actually super dope. She said it would be dope if it was in a more eco-friendly container. This is what I will say. It's completely biodegradable. I did that on purpose. This isn't plastic. From the earth to the earth.
See this look, Farah? Thank you for that comment.
It's completely biodegradable. Ursula, down to the label.
So, ladies and gentlemen, not only do we have a female-owned eco-friendly brand, but also it's good for you, it's natural, and it supports the environment. Because in the count, I want to commend you, and not only you, I want to commend your entire team for that. Because as we've traveled through this industry, I know people like yourself, you visited all around the country, you've tried all types of products, and whenever we visit a facility, whether it's a dispensary or a private event, the number one problem we have are bioplastics. Especially after Prop 64 and some of the other laws kicked in California. I'm not going to name the entity, but I was in East LA. I went to one of my favorite, dispensaries, and they had to add more packaging. So I went in, I bought my 4/8 of flour, some concentrates, and a couple little knickknack items. Each item was in a plastic container or bag, which was in another plastic bag sealed up. They took all those bags and put them in a bigger bag sealed up. And it really hit me when I got outside, when I got back to my Airbnb, because my little trash can that's in your room was literally full of nothing but plastic packaging. And the fact that you took the initiative to be forward thinking and environmentally conscious, that speaks volume to your character, but not only your character, your brand. Because most brands, they don't care what they're making it out of. Is it selling? From vape cartridges to Mylar bags. And the fact your product is not something else, because when people ask me, hey, you want a bag with that? I always give the same response.
Me too. It's like, no, it's like, I don't need the bag.
No, I tell them that's just something else.
I put it in my purse.
Like a baby dolphin. And microplastics, the cannabis and hemp industries, unfortunately, we are one of the biggest contributor to microplastics.
Right.
And so the fact that your product is biodegradable, I think that is a really strong selling point, but not only a selling point, a distribution point, because you are showing that Mother Nature matters to you and your brand. And what led you to the biodegradable technology for the packaging? Because again, thank you, Farah. Most companies that have that.
Definitely. Thank you for saying that, because I wasn't going to even mention it, but actually two parts. One, being from New Orleans, looking at the water quality, and obviously looking at basically what we're surrounded with. We have a lot of waste in New Orleans, and I think that we could minimize that substantially, especially in increasing quality of life. I think we're missing the mark somewhere in the city, unfortunately. And then the second part is I live on the beach right now. So I've actually moved to Florida. I'm on the beach, and I've seen the damage that I can do. Like, I go scuba diving, and you see like bottles all at the bottom of the ocean. Like, it's the nastiest thing. So it's almost like, if we could, obviously we can't necessarily get everybody to care about the earth, but if we can get everybody to drink water, and the water is biodegradable, then maybe I won't see the bottle of water at the bottom of the ocean while I'm swimming.
Absolutely. And I have not scuba dived yet. It is on my list for this summer, but I'm a snorkeler. I love snorkeling. And you would be amazed at the things you find in the ocean. the things that float in the ocean, and the
Or the things
fact
that
that,
you find wrapped around animals.
yes,
That's the part
yes,
that sucks. Like we have obviously we have paper straws here, but my sister's a marine biologist. That's the only reason why scuba diving was ever like a thing, because I've only done it twice. Realistically, I am a snorkeler, but when you see like a little baby sea turtle and he's like trying to mind his business and he's wrapped up in like a 6-pack of who knows what it was, it kind of, because it's, it's not his fault. We got to take some responsibility in what we're doing. I think sometimes we get a little bit spoiled with our thinking and with our activities, and we don't necessarily take responsibility for the place that we live in, because we don't see the long-term effects.
The problem is, a lot of times if we don't see it, we think it's not happening. And I really bring that conversation when I'm discussing healthcare, because a lot of people don't check their blood pressure, they don't check their blood sugar, they don't check things with their body because they feel that if I don't see it, it's not happening.
It's
And
not
that is
there.
very untrue. Yeah, that is very untrue. And I love fitness. I love exercise. I love working out. This could truly change the game for a lot of people in their fitness and recovery. Because
Mhm.
I know you and people in your circle exercise. Recovery is just as important as doing the exercise. And the
Absolutely.
type of water you drink ultimately affects your recovery. So you're telling me with this CBD water, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting older. I mean, most of us are in the 25 and older group. I think Ursula just turned like 28, something of that nature. So when we drink, sometimes when we work out, things are sore. They don't bounce back as fast as they used to, back in the early 90s or 2000s when we were
I
kids
need that
running
as a
around.
sound bite. Can we get that as a sound bite? Can we
Yeah,
just
we're gonna
like
have to go back
replay
and
that
cut
one
that
part
out.
over and over and over again? I wish. How old do you think
And
I am? That's so sweet. I don't know if you meant it or not, but I'll take it.
so recovery, that those soreness, those achiness, a lot of people don't like to exercise. Aside from the fact that many people are lazy, it hurts. It's not easy. It's not fun. And as Sarah said, or it must be something in the water, literally. I would love to see this water in the hands of lots more people this summer. As I stated, I'm going to be doing a fitness event, and we're going to make sure that we got drink Aqua Green Alkaline Water, especially for the elderly. A lot of
Oh yeah.
older patients don't get out and walk as much as they used to because things hurt, whether it's their hips, their knees, their back. And if you tell me we can hydrate them and medicate them at the same time, but without intoxicating them, I
Mm-hmm.
think that is a very important aspect of it, because I would say about 90 to 95% of the people who've asked me about infused waters and things of that nature, the first thing they want is THC water. THC water, THC water. And the thing that I've really discovered in speaking and doing research, especially some of the research projects we worked on, that 55 and older community, most of them, they're not looking to get high, they're just looking to get well.
They just want
So
to be
they're not
well.
they don't want to be intoxicated. And as like you said with your strain, some of these strains are very strong, and for some people they want that super strong, I don't know what to do now. But the average person, they just want enough to relax, to take that edge off or take that pain away or help calm that anxiety so they can enjoy it. And I really commend you for, one, with the water, but two, even being conscious with your strain, because if you over intoxicate, you could always drink some of the CBD water to try to kind of balance it out.
Mm-hmm.
And what about making ice cubes with it? Like, say, hey, I want to make an adult beverage. Could we use it for ice cubes?
It will completely freeze, and you can use it for ice cubes. I will say this: I do have a THC oil at the house that has nothing to do with the water, but I've actually made ice cubes with the CBD water to make a THC drink. Now, when the world catches up, I'll share that recipe.
Well,
But
we
until
will be
then, it can be
on
done.
standby. We will be on standby waiting for that,
You
because
can
I would like.
totally freeze it.
Well, I tell you what, once you come up with those drink recipes, we're going to get you out to one of our M for MM dice mixers. Really have your drinks on hand, but also have the water as well. Because now that I know more about the water, listen, I want this water at the Special Olympics. I want this water for people doing outdoor activities, community cleanups, because hey, it hurts, ladies and gentlemen. And if you tell me that if they had ibuprofen water or no, in the South, I know a lot of people take the goody powders, and I feel that they had goody powder water. Oh my goodness, everybody would be drinking it. The goody powder water. So, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to follow Drink Aqua Green. She is on Instagram. She is on Facebook. She has a website. She has multiple platforms. And also, she is an artist. Let's not get away from that. I'm not going to let you slide out of here because I've admired your art for years now. And that's where the Painter Bay comes from. I see that Farah asks, can we make tea with the water? And yes, Farah, I want to bring you that amazing news.
Definitely make tea with the water.
So you mean to tell me
this. You mentioned the strain. I didn't break down the science of the strain because I didn't really feel like anybody was going to be extremely interested. But when you actually break down the science of the strain that we used in this water, we used two variations. One is a CBDA and the other one is a CBDG. And if anybody remembers, let's say maybe roughly about 6 weeks ago, Forbes, CNN, and MSNBC released an article saying that CBDA does block the COVID strain. So I mainly did it from a mental health standpoint because that's where my background is actually in. And unfortunately, as Black and brown people, mental health does not always score very high with us because it's out of sight, out of mind. We don't want to fix the problem until we see it. So if we're not bleeding, there's nothing wrong. But anxiety is real, right? PTSD is real. Depression is real. Menopausal depression is real. All of those things are very real mental issues that we don't necessarily like to address. And CBDA is amazing for all of those. So it is an anti-anxiety. It's amazing for insomnia.
Not to cut you off, I'm really big on mental health. I am a military veteran. I was deployed twice. And you really just introduced me to another aspect of the potentiality of this water, because although people like you, people like some of our guests, they're fond of products, CBD, THC, Delta 8. But the problem is there are a lot of people who don't know information about this. They're still afraid of CBD products. And this product could potentially be the entry point for a lot of people to try CBD. I feel that water is less threatening. And what I mean by less threatening, ladies and gentlemen, not the fact that it's dangerous, but the intimidation factor. There are so many products on the market that people who are looking to try it, and those are what we call the canna curious, they're intimidated by this. They're afraid because, with a gummy, once you eat it, it's in there. Once you smoke something, it's in there.
It's in there.
Water could be a little bit more gentle approach to like, hey, grandma, I know your knees been hurting, your hips been hurting. Instead of, you trying to gummy because you're afraid, why don't you take a few sips of the water? And who doesn't like water? I've never met a single person that doesn't like water. We all need water. And from now on, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to drink Aqua Green Water. I saw one of the comments that, so with M for MM, we have a social equity brand book. And I would love to make sure you're connected with our team. Roz has posted the link on the spread. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have a brand, you're an entrepreneur and you have a Black brand, please reach out to us at M4MM and make sure that we know about your brand, who you are, so we can help highlight your brand and spotlight your brand in our social equity cannabis brand lookbook. These books feature all brands from across the industry that are minority owned, especially the brands that are socially conscious. One thing that I love about M4MM and our president, Roz McCarthy, she has Black Buddha Cannabis. And those brands are important because we want to make sure that these brands are socially conscious. So if you look here, ladies and gentlemen, this is to the website to where they actually have the Social Cannabis Brands book. It introduces you to these brands. So here we have Hemp and Fork from our chairman, Eric Range. Here we've got Escobar Infused chocolates. There's a different array, but let's make sure that we get you included because they need water. They need CBD water. And these books are really how M4MM is remaining intentional to put out products across the country because there are so many people who want to try products that are Black owned and the Black brands, but they just don't know who they are or where they
Right.
are. And M4MM has come up with this. They've come up with multiple editions. We had one available at MJ BizCon last year. As you see, like Bouquet. There you go. V9 grows for 20 home cultivation education. And I would love to make sure that we've got your brand included in this for the work that we do, not only nationally, but also internationally and in the Caribbean. Because the only way we're going to grow in this industry, ladies and gentlemen, is together. So be sure to follow the M4MM social cannabis brands, and that website is www.socialcannabisbrands.com. We are sure to remain intentional in our work, just like with these webinars, from the Sow the Land to the Health is Wellness to the First Fridays to Can I Talk with Roz. Our programming is always very intentional. We have our specific audiences that we want to reach, because we know that there's a lot of big players at these tables. And oftentimes when you get to the table, there's not even a seat at the table. So what we're doing, we're setting our own table, we're writing our own menu. And ladies and gentlemen, you are invited to dinner. So when they say who all over there, we are. You are invited to the cookout. And hey, we're going to drink Aqua Green at the cookout. And I see we got Mariela Cannibal from Puerto Rico here. And she says that my mom
She's family.
put on to CBD infused water at an M4MM, and I don't care what anyone says, that CBD water has helped her for a faster recovery from COVID-related health issues.
Amazing. That's so dope. Congratulations.
And you brought that up.
Good. I'm glad you feel better.
Here we have a comment from Farrah Fryer. Education is very important. Thank you for sharing. I'm a part of a Black clinical therapist. I'm part of a group of Black clinical therapists. The education of this product would be interesting to see if it's something to see if patients with anxiety would benefit. We never know. Well,
actually, Farrah, we do.
Go ahead.
I have a foundation in New Orleans with inner city children, and we use art therapy to combat behavioral issues because I'm not going to say it too loud, but I prefer organics over big, farm people. We have tested it out with several children that consented, and it has changed. Their parents have at least said they've seen changes in. We've tested it out with an autistic child, ADHD, as well as anxiety. Obviously, this is like in the beginning. I can't give factual data, but what I can tell you is that the parents and the children both have seen insane changes, along with my son, who I'm also testing it on. He's also ADHD. So he's actually off all his medication.
And that is why with some of the research projects that I work with, we're really big on what we call citizen science, because a lot of the information that we get come from things like that, where citizens become the scientists. And maybe we could do like a focus group this year. Farrah, if you make sure that you drop your information, and we will be sure to make sure that you ladies are connected, because I'm really big on making connections. Each one teach one so that you can reach one. And before we wrap up, Miss Ursula, what else would you like to tell us about you, about your products, and how can people contact you, and where can they find you online?
You can find me online almost anywhere under Ursula Rochon, or on Instagram under Painter Bay. The water is Drink Aqua Green on all platforms. Right now, you can order it online. You can order a case at retail, or you can also order a pallet for wholesale. So right now, the water sells for about $6 a bottle. The national average is $6.99 for 12 ounces, and we are doing 16.9 ounces at $5.99.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, so be sure to follow on Instagram, social media, because even if you say, well, I may not have extra money right now to buy some water, it costs nothing to support. It costs nothing to click like. It costs you nothing to share a post or share a page with someone. So please, and that goes for this M4MM, that goes for all of these social brands, share it. If you say, well, I may not have the money to buy a tincture or, buy some of your products, Share it. You may have somebody that can afford it. They may buy you one. We're going to do this together in this industry.
Definitely.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, we do have another question. It says, how many come in a case?
There's 24 in a case, and I will say this: I have a serious soft spot for children, medicine, mental health, just us being better, just being well. Because obviously, I would like to say that we've talked a lot through this pandemic about wellness, but I don't think we've actually addressed what the issue is and how we can be well, and how the earth kind of has everything here already for us to be well. I don't think we use that. So if there is a clinic or a school or a entity out there that actually wants the water, and maybe you can't afford a pallet, but maybe you want several cases at retail, reach out and I'll still give them to you wholesale. Definitely.
Thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate brands that stand by their word. Oftentimes when brands are in the developmental stages, it's kind of like a politician campaigning. They tell you all the things they support, all the things they're going to do. But once they're elected, there's very little action behind those items. And ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here. So definitely, please, let's get it in the stores. Let's get it in hemp world dispensaries. I want to make sure I'm going to work on.
I'll put my email for anybody that has a question, but and obviously, if there's anybody on here right now that is in distribution, I'll go all the way down the cost to get it to the people that actually need it. I just would need help on the distribution side. I just think it's important for our people to be well. And realistically, like, this water has helped me in so many different ways. And my son, I just feel like if I got it, why not give it out? And if the stores carry it, cool.
Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Miss Ursula Rochon from Aqua Green CBD Nano Water. We want to thank her for being an astounding guest today and for bringing us some amazing information. So for my entrepreneurs, for my business owners, for the storefronts, listen, entrepreneurs are succeeding in this industry. You too can be an entrepreneur in this industry. And Ursula is showing us that Black business matters. So thank you again, Ursula. It's been a great pleasure. And I'm going to circle back with you. Water.
Thank you for having me. Definitely.
You're very welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get out of here, I want to do an update. And I want to really fill you in on some hemp facts before we wrap up. Just a moment here. All right, so the hemp industry is rapidly growing. We heard today that we've got hemp water, we've got CBD water, we've got products that are across the nation. Well, I want to give you a quick hemp update from hemp today. This update was sent to me by Roz McCarthy a few days ago, and I really dove into it really quick. So without giving you too much information, I don't want to overload you as we prepare for health as wellness. I just want to give you some statistical figures about hemp. The U.S. Department of Agriculture put the hemp value harvested in 2021 at an astounding $824 million across the United States. That is important because it's like, what are they doing with the hemp? And according to these figures, most of that hemp was grown for hemp flowers, for the production of oil, for smokable products, but only about 22.3% of those products were grown for grain, the actual grain of the hemp. And 34.4% were made to use for hemp fiber. My big thing is pushing for more fiber products. So what these statistics are telling us that there's a lot of hemp being grown, but unfortunately, most of it's being grown for CBD flowers. And we know that there is an astounding number of uses for the hemp plant. So before we get out of here, I got one quick thing to give you, and it's going to be U.S. farmers harvested an amazing 33,500 acres of hemp after planting 54,000 acres last spring. Montana, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Montana led all states with about 4,500 acres of harvested hemp products, followed by 3,100 acres in Colorado, and roughly 70% of all hemp fields in Colorado were not harvested last year. Yes, that means money was left on trees. And the reason a lot of these hemp aren't being harvested is because they don't know what to do with it. Everyone's thinking about making oil or making CBD. So Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to incorporate more hemp industry updates and be on the lookout for our hemp information shorts. They're going to be a series of short videos to give you more information surrounding hemp. Again, my name is Stanley Atkins II. I am the National Director of Hemp Farming and Technology with Minorities for Medical Marijuana. And thank you for joining us for this month's special edition of Sold the Land Hemp Farming webinar. This is M for MM signing off. Stay tuned for Nicole Buffon and this month's special edition of Health is Wellness. Signing off, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.